This is our final project of the year, rectangular prisms, volume, and surface area, which is new to you guys. So let's get started with that. First of all, volume. You guys did a little bit last year. Just length times width times height. Now that's easy to do with a drawn shape, but you actually have to use a real life object, so that should make it a little bit more complicated for you guys. Now, a prism is basically something that doesn't meet at the point on the top. So, like if a pyramid would look like this, where it meets at a point, a prism does not. It's actually parallel on the top. So, you could have like a triangular prism like this, and it doesn't actually meet as a point. So, that's just a little tidbit on 3D shapes. Now, your job, you guys are going to basically be building some kind of rectangular prism that has a function. Now, the function could be literally anything. It could be to build with, it could be to eat, it could be to store something. Like if you're going to build a box, it can't just be a box. It could be a remote box, it could be your candy box, it could be a jewelry box. You could build it to have a function uh, like a bird's like a bird box or a birdhouse or anything like that. So you could even put wheel and axle on it and make it a vehicle. That's all up to you. I also don't really care if it has like an open top or anything. If you're going to build a garden or something like that, that's totally fine. You just have to build some kind of rectangular prism that has a function. Now, once you have that built, you need to find the volume and the surface area, but before you can do any of that, you need to find the measurements. Now, here's my birdhouse. I want you to ignore the triangular prism on the top. That we're not going to do that equation this year. That'll be next year. So, let's find our rectangular prism out of this shape. Best that I can draw. Okay. So you're going to have my walls look like this. And then obviously you can't see this, but it does exist. There is another wall on the other side. So we'll draw that just so you guys can remember that it's there. It's not the best work, but all right. So what we need to do is find our measurements. So if I was going to measure this with a ruler, I would figure out that this is about, let's say, 13 centimeters. That would be my length or my width. This is about 17 centimeters. And my height is about 10. All right. Now, to find volume, I'm just going to multiply those three together. So I would take, I'll change the color. I would take 17 times 13 times 10. And I would get like 1,220 or something like that. I'm just going to write a random number. You guys actually have to solve, but okay. Just take those three numbers times each other and then make sure you label it as centimeters squared. Okay. But I want to focus more on the surface area of this. The surface area is basically if you put all the walls together. So surface area is really important with any type of structure. Now, let's look at this a little bit. If I was going to take this birdhouse and unravel it, it would look like this, somewhat like this. Okay, this is called a net. Now, let's look. Each of these walls, each line would be about 17 centimeters according to my thing. Okay, if I look at this wall, I'm going to have 10 by 13. So this would be 10, and then the one obviously on the other side would be 10. This is 13. And each of these walls are actually 13. So this is 13, this is 13, this is 13, this is 13. Okay, same thing on the other side. This would be 10, and the rest would be 13. Now, this looks really complicated. If you don't want to do it this way, that's totally fine. You don't need to unravel it into a net. But basically, surface area is finding the area of each part. So I need to find the area of the top, and that's going to be the same thing as the bottom. I need to find the area of the front, which would be the same thing as the back, and then the left side and the right side. So basically, find the area of this side, and that side in the back, this side, and then the other side, and then the top and the bottom. So you're just finding the area. Okay. So if I have 13 by 17, let's try that. 17 times 13. I have 21, and then 3, 4, 5. Throw on my 0. 7 times 1 and 1. All right, so I'm going to get 221. So this is 221. Okay, this one would be the same, so this is also 221. This is 221. And this is 221. I made it nice and simple where they're all the same. All right, and then my walls, 13 times 10, so 130. And then this wall would be 130. Okay, once I find the area of each wall, I add them together. So 121 plus 121, or 221 plus 221 plus 221 plus 221. Oh gosh. We're just going to times that by 4. So it should be 884. And then 130 plus 130 is 260. Add those together. 4, 12, 13, 14, and 11. So my surface area would be 1,144 centimeters squared. Now, I know this looks super crazy, super confusing. Basically, find the area of each side, each wall. Okay, so your top, your bottom, your front, your back, your left, and your right. The net just makes things kind of complicated, but if you understand how the net works, that's awesome too. Okay, so have fun building, and we'll see how they go.